let's see. Well, there's a couple of things we're going to talk about today, but do you have anything you want to bring up first? Or you want to make your post first? And then we can
Oh yeah, I'm
get
posting
into
this
all
right
the
now.
weird shit.
What did you want to bring up? I had a couple
Oh,
things that I was going to complain about.
yeah, and we can talk about that. I was going to talk about this documentary I recently watched.
Oh yeah, I watched. What did you watch? Because I watched something last night that I actually will bring up. It was true crime.
I watched that new 7M documentary on Netflix. Have you heard of it or seen it? I think I told you about it. It's about like the TikTok dancers.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. And it's still going on, and it's like happening right down the road for me, which is extra creepy.
Why aren't you the man on the streets for this channel? Go down there and get some interviews.
Well, because it's like in a gated community, and like you have to watch the documentary. Like shit is fucked
Okay,
up.
well, have you seen Scream? Do you think Gale Weathers would just stop at a gate? Get in there, get some traction for this channel going.
Yeah, it's like I mean, all these people have Instagrams. We can try reaching out. I don't know. It's basically, I don't know if I told you what it's about, but it's like this, like, I don't know where his ethnicity, this Asian guy started this cult where, well, he's a pastor, and he has his own church. And so basically he like kind of gets you in with, like, words of God. And then once he has you, he like, separates you from your people. And so the documentary is that like he has a son, and the son finds these TikTok dancers. And so this pastor is like, okay, I'm going to manage all of these TikTok dancers and make them really famous, which he does. But it comes at the cost of they have to listen to his word of God every day. And then they really are in it, and they completely separate themselves from their families. And they call him like the man of God. And it's super weird, but I don't know. And some of them like do eventually get out, and that's why they made the documentary. And some of them are still in, but it's weird. TikTok dancers are so weird. I feel like dance people are weird.
Dance people are weird. Yeah.
Like, yeah, dance people are just strange. I feel like there's different kinds of dance people. I was talking about it with a friend yesterday. I feel like there's like ballet dancers, but then there's like the hip hop dancers, which is like the TikTok people, and like that's weird to me.
Yeah. My little sister, she's in a bunch of dance classes. She does ballet and TikTok, or not TikTok, hip hop. Same thing though, I guess. But
Yeah.
I had some friends in high school that were like,
Hi, Matt.
they were like, girl, I forgot to look at the chat. I have it right here. Why can't dance people just sit still?
Do you want to come on the live, or what are you doing?
That's a gold tier comment.
Yeah, no, but seriously, why can't they just sit still? I mean, I was saying like, yeah, like anytime they want to do something, like their response is with a dance move. Like if they get angry at you, they're gonna like wave their hands. It's But what about your sister?
Oh, I was just saying my sister does a bunch of dance classes, but my sister's a nerd. I had friends in high school that were like girls that did dance. One of them I don't really talk to anymore, but she was cool. I mean, she was weird as fuck, but yeah, she was cool.
Yeah, they're so weird.
But the cult thing is the funniest part. If you can't start a cult today, you might as well just give up on life, because it seems like anybody can start a cult. Like if you can start a cult of TikTok dancers, what the fuck can't you start a cult about?
But like, so what he does is he basically starts several businesses, and then he gets people within his cult to work for those businesses, and they make like millions of dollars. But then what he does is when he pays them like he'll give 90% of their paycheck like to the church, and then they end up with $100 to last them for 2 weeks. um, but they're so enamored with him and his word of God that they think, okay, yeah, like this is how I'm going to be clean as a person, otherwise Satan's going to come get me. It's bananas.
Yeah, it's gotta be easy. If I lived in, like, a large city like you do, I would try. I mean, you all you do is you take an already established religion, and you just kinda tweak it in your favor, and people act like it's this whole brand new thing, and it's like, "Dude, it's the word of God." Like, you coulda gone out and done this on your own. But
But I mean, I guess he's been doing this for like 30 years or so. He started off just getting people from his church. And so I need to look up what ethnicity they were. I think it was like I don't want to, it was like either Thai or Vietnamese. They had like a church going for people of that community to come. And then originally the cult was catered towards that to make them feel vulnerable within the church, and they have to listen to him. And then I think he kind of got in trouble, so it petered out. And then he eventually grabbed onto the TikTok dancers, and that's what he's doing now. It's very bizarre, but I don't know. But I guess, yeah,
yeah.
he has like a whole fortress out here in LA.
Yeah, you gotta go infiltrate that.
I don't know. But I guess like a number of the people are suing him now, and they talk about that in the documentary. But they say it's difficult because all of these people are adults and they're consenting to be with him.
Yeah.
So it's like, what can the police do? But I guess they're going after him because of course he sexually assaulted a ton of the girls. So and then I guess like what happened was is like the main girl that speaks in the documentary, she goes to the cops, and then they're like, well, we can't have just you saying you were sexually assaulted. We need like a group of women. Like one woman doesn't matter. And
Yeah.
so it's like, okay, great.
Yeah, cults are funny. I never understand, like, when a guy is talking to you and he's, like, clearly trying to, like, get you into his religion, usually, as soon as he gets to the part where, like, he gets to fuck my wife, like, that to me, that's like, "Okay, I'm okay, never mind, like, it's all good." Like,
Yeah.
I don't understand all these red flags that these it's a weird psychology. I would like to learn, like, more of, like, the psychology about people that join cults thinking it's a good idea.
Well, I think a lot of the people were from out of state, and then they flew here to like become professional dancers, if I'm not mistaken. So you have a bunch of people that come from small towns, and here's this guy that lives in this big city that's like, I can give you everything. So,
It's still weird to me, like, to me, that sounds more like you fuck Harvey Weinstein for a role in a movie, not, "I'll join a fucking cult to become a big TikTok dancer."
yeah,
I
uh,
guess, I mean, I guess some people really are, like, I don't wanna say desperate.
you
Oh, of
almost
course, Matt's not here, and it sounds like he's got the bangerest story of all time.
wait, we want to hear this though.
You can if you're on next week, you gotta bring it next week so you can tell it, like, in full.
Yeah.
I'm over here talking shit about people joining cults, and then Matt's like, "Oh, I almost joined a cult." Wait, I do to what? Yeah, you gotta tell it. Okay, it's
It's
a
a
deal.
deal.
Alright, so we got next what we'll be posting about this week is that we have a story of our friend who almost joined a cult next week. I would hope it was
Okay,
at least a
cool.
cool one. No, you can still talk shit, LOL. Perfect, because we all talk shit about each other. I hope the cult was at least cool. Like, that's where I'll cut you some slack, because if you, like, show me a picture of this leader and he actually looks cool, like, if he's got cool long hair or something,
Offshoot. Okay.
okay, that actually sounds interesting.
When was this though? Like recently?
Not enough orgies.
Orgies? Oh god.
Yeah, that's a deal breaker for sure. Isn't it pronounced Hare Krishna?
Yeah, I
Whenever
think.
I think of Hare Krishna now, I think of the guy there's a guy in Dawn of the Dead who becomes a zombie, and it's a Hare Krishna guy and, like, the full getup, and it's like a zombie version of him, like, 12 years ago. That was a while ago.
Think of the Beatles.
But that would mean you were, like, way younger, so that kinda makes sense. I mean,
Like they want to prey on the young.
I would have joined a cult probably any time before I turned, like, 26 or 27, honestly.
When I got a past life reading,
Were you a
like
cult
a couple
leader?
of, no, well, no. So I have a friend who does past life readings professionally. It's her main job. And she did one for me a couple of years ago. And she went through all of the lives that she was able to see. And she said that the life I had before this one, I was a little boy living in like Idaho, Ohio, like somewhere in the Midwest. And I basically had been abandoned and then taken in by some kind of satanic cult. And then they sacrificed me and I died like under the age of like 10. And then she was like, so that's why you came into this life with really loving parents. So I don't know. But I tried looking up online like satanic cults in the Midwest in the 80s because she said it was during the 80s and I couldn't really find too much. So I don't know.
Satanic cults, not actually satanic, but, like, the Church of Satan, how they're not actually, like, devil worshiping.
Yeah.
So I heard the funniest thing recently, and it was a guy, he was talking about the 80s satanic panic.
You were in the same cult from Michelle, remember? What's that?
Yeah, no, I'm curious. Basically, some guy, though, he made a joke about how the Satanic Temple or the Church of Satan is actually just a bunch of weird hippies that are, playing the system to get tax breaks and stuff.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
I I think that's comical. I think it's hilarious.
Yeah. The Satanic Temple. I actually I went to Salem earlier this year and I went to the temple where they're based out of. It was
That sounds like a book you have to read.
oh, it's a book. Okay, I'll have to look into that. Yeah, but I went to the Satanic Temple in Salem and I don't know. I like I don't know. I don't know if like what I should be saying like live on the internet.
Why do you keep acting like anyone
But
watching? Like, who do you think from the Satanic Temple
it's
in
just
Salem
like,
is
you know
watching
what?
this?
I do I really like what they have to represent. I just feel like when I went there, I basically when I walked in because it's like a guard it's a house. Like the guy that runs it, like it's his home. And then like the bottom floor is this museum where you can walk in and you have to like pay an entrance fee and then you can see all the artwork that he's collected and all about the church. And so they had this kid like running the museum and he just kind of was like tapped out. Like I had questions and he like couldn't answer them and I was just like, okay, this was kind of a waste of my time. And it just kind of put like a bad taste in my mouth. But you know, but they like I guess so it's like a two-story Victorian home and upstairs they turned half of it into like an Airbnb so you can Airbnb the Satanic Temple. And so and you can like go visit it. So I went upstairs to check it out. It was actually really fucking cool. Like the decor was phenomenal. But I'm sure it's, expensive. But I think if you get married there, you can spend a night
You know,
in
the
there.
the the Airbnb and, like, the tourist stuff, that kinda ruins it for me. You know what else really ruins it for me is, so when I keep talking about that Lesser Key of Solomon book that I have, a renowned book by Aleister Crowley about summoning fucking demons. I bought it on Amazon.
Yeah.
To me, that ruins it. Like, I wanna find a book that I've gotta go to an old library and some witchy lady, like, blows the dust off of it and hands it to me and, like, warns me, but then I buy it on fucking
Yeah.
Amazon. So the Airbnb, that would kinda kill it. That would kinda kill it for me.
But everything's on Amazon now. So
Yeah, and everything is ruined now. There's nothing cool anymore.
yeah. No,
Everything
that is
loses
true.
everything has lost its, like, appeal and its luster, like
Yeah. No, they wanna just hand everything to you now. So what did you wanna comment about Ted Bundy? I wanna know.
No, I always wanna make jokes about, Ted Bundy's pickup game is actually really good, and no one gives him credit for it. It's like, his famous method of he would put, like, a cast on his arm, and then
Yeah.
he would, like, walk around a college campus or, like, a lake where college girls are hanging out, and he would,
Yeah.
he'd be, like, struggling with his book bag or, like, a little boat or something, and he would ask a girl to help him load his stuff back up to his car.
Yeah.
I
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
think that's genius. All the way up until the part where he hits them in the head with a crowbar is like, that's I wanna try this, and then maybe when she helps me get the books to my car, I just ask her for her number instead. It's genius in the way that you're a man with an injured arm, and you're asking the girl for help, so the girl already knows that you have no problems asking a woman for help. 2,
Mhm.
she gets to feel helpful, and everybody likes to feel helpful and help somebody. It's just I don't know, I just think it's genius. I think it's the most genius thing I've ever heard of when it comes to if
But
Ted
I
Bundy was just a pickup artist, he would have made so much money. He'd have so many guys subscribing to his Patreon to learn how to to learn, like, his pickup tricks for girls.
I mean, I feel like I don't know if that would work in today's world, especially with the amount of crime we have, like, people are on alert, you know?
Well,
I
you
feel
said
like if some guy tried to do that to me, I'd probably be like, "No," and, like, run away.
you just have to be nice. Like, if you're not a fucking creep.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know, in LA, like, there's just so much crap that goes down, so nobody trusts anybody, so, you know, if I saw, yeah, some guy that was, like, 6 foot and extremely handsome, and he's asking me for help, I'm like, "What's the catch?" Like
I think I could pull it off. I think if I got a cast on my arm and I had a bag of books and I, like, dropped the books and kinda was, like, frazzled and a girl passed by and I was like, "I think I could do it."
well, you can try it. I
I've
mean,
always wanted to get a cast and try this. I should do, like, some, like, hidden camera shit for, like and, like, do, like, an experiment thing.
do you think it would work where you are?
If I went to
Mm.
Davis,
Yeah.
the college town, in the where I'm at, no, if
Yeah.
the town that I live in, somebody would just if the town that I live in, if I did this, the person that I asked to help me would just offer to sell me meth, and, like, that's what would happen. But if I go to Davis, where you see Davis at, college,
Yeah.
at the same time, I don't know, some, like, wild 2024 shit could happen there, I guess.
Like what?
I don't know, I would get accused of some kind of misogyny somehow, like
Yeah. That's
but
what I'm saying. Yeah, I think yeah.
no, but I don't think most people are like that. I think most people are normal, and I think most people, girls and boys, if they see me of all people, I am 6'3", but I clearly don't weigh more than 150 pounds, and I'm most likely wearing some kind of shit that is very non-intimidating because that's just how I dress. I would imagine they would have no problem helping me carry a bag of books back to my car.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I also just I think you should try not to do it in, like just do it in, like, public space. Like, don't be like, "Oh, yeah, I'm parked all the way in the back of this deep, dark garage," like, to me, which I'm sure I know Bundy was doing because he'd obviously have to have
Yeah.
them secluded enough to hit them with the crowbar and then put them in the car and drive off.
Yeah, you can't be like, "My car is around the corner." It needs to be, like, on that street for them to
Yeah. I'd be
see.
like, "Look, there's obviously,
So
like, 100 people out right here walking around. Here's my"
yeah.
I think it would work.
You can't be like, "Let's go out back."
Yeah. I think I could at least get 1 or 2 numbers doing that.
Yeah, yeah, and then they're
Um,
gonna be like, "How's your arm?" Like, the next day, and you'll be like, "What?"
that would be the worst part. I'd have to keep the cast on for, like, our first so many dates or whatever.
Yeah, or I mean, you could say, "Oh, the doctor just took it off, like, it's been on for a couple of months already. I'm
Yeah.
good to go now." You could definitely play that card.
I
And
bet I
then
could.
you'd have to
I,
like make it look a little worn, like get people to like kind of sign it, like
yeah,
kind of like throw it around a bit so it's a little
yeah.
dirty.
I bet I could buy a cast like on Amazon.
Oh yeah, they have them there. See, Amazon has,
That'd
has everything.
be awesome. I'll have somebody write. I don't know, one of the 2024 internet slogans that
But
I don't
like
want to
you
say.
should get it in like a cool color. Like get in like a
Black,
turquoise or blue or
black,
yeah. Black, not pink. I feel like everybody had pink in
because
school.
pink was cool before Machine Gun Kelly came along and ruined it.
Yeah, that's true.
Pink and black was one of the coolest color combinations of all time, and then Machine Gun Kelly came and fucking ruined everything.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I just think of Hot Topic, early 2000s, pink and black.
so I know this is old. I don't know why I just finally watched a thing about it, but you've heard of the Wonderland murders, right?
Oh yeah, like I watched that like 15 years ago.
I just watched something about it last night. Somebody on my
Wait, like,
Instagram.
did you watch the movie or like a
No,
documentary?
I just watched like a little YouTube video. It was like a half hour.
But you know, like the movie, right?
Boogie Nights.
No, 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 no. There's a movie. I think
Oh,
it's called Wonderland. It's
well,
about the
yeah,
Wonderland.
yeah, but is it like a Hollywood?
Yeah, it's a Hollywood movie.
Yeah, see,
Yeah.
I just watched like a homemade documentary that was really good.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Um,
Boogie Nights isn't about that.
yes, it is. It's based off of it.
Wait, what? How so?
Boogie Nights with Mark Wahlberg.
Yeah.
It is based on. It's honestly, it sounds like it's. I've never seen it, but from what I've heard, it's like more. Like the real story is so unbelievable that the movie is kind of moved around to make it more
Wait,
believable.
have you seen Boogie Nights?
No.
Well, I think you're mistaking for a
Oh, I'm
different
not. The
movie.
video I just watched last night talked about this like a million
Wait,
times.
Boogie Nights is about the porn stars from the 70s.
And what is what is the Wonderland Murders about? John Holmes, the porn star from the 70s.
I don't know.
I'm looking this up too. I'm telling you, it's Boogie
I
Nights.
think this girl is gonna join us. By
Well,
the
tell
way.
her to fuck off. I'm just kidding.
Oh, wait.
Yeah, Boogie Nights, the golden
He
age
said
of
that
porn.
yeah.
Yeah, that's what. Yeah, it's about John Holmes.
Oh. Who was he in Boogie Nights?
Mark Wahlberg.
Mark Wahlberg played. I'm getting things confused.
He probably played the John Holmes character.
No. There was a different guy that was killing. I don't know. You got to send me that video because this doesn't sound like Boogie Nights like at all.
I'll send it to you. It was a really good. It was like a 30-minute video. It was really good. The reason I bring it up is because the Wonderland Murders is like the closest similar crime to the Manson story that that's what the Manson story is actually about. It's like drug dealers and Hollywood pornography and like the underbelly of Hollywood.
Let's see. Boogie Nights. Okay. Oh, the drug dealer sequence. Oh, okay. So that's like totally unrelated to Mark Wahlberg.
Boogie Nights isn't about the murders. I don't think.
No. Boogie Nights is based on the life of this porn star that's a real guy.
John Holmes.
No. Wait.
Yes,
No.
it's John Holmes.
Okay.
John Holmes is the porn star from Deep Throat who became a crack addict and like lost everything, and then got involved in the Wonderland Murders.
Oh, yes. On whom Dirk Diggler is based on. I want to say yes. One of the characters, one of the people that the movie is based on is actually a family friend of ours. I'd have to ask my dad who is this? Who's Tristan?
So when I talk about going out once in a while and getting way too drunk.
Yeah.
This is usually who it's with.
Hello.
I imagine he won't hang around forever. He's just here to drop a goat comment. I mean, if
Okay.
you want to, obviously feel free, but um, I am the goat. I should leave that up a lot longer.
You can't pin it?
I
Not
mean,
like on the.
it's pinned right now. I'm not usually a douchebag, so I take the I don't leave him up the whole stream.
Let's see.
Um,
John.
yeah, no,
So what
the
happened
video.
to that guy?
Okay.
Oh, he died. John Holmes.
No, yeah, he died.
Okay.
Much love. I'll be watching for a second. Yeah, hell yeah.
Or
We're
Johnny.
talking
Yeah.
about the Wonderland murders and the movie Boogie Nights. Yeah, no, Boogie Nights was it was in the video like 100 times. I don't think it's about the murders. I think it's more so about the drug dealing. But
Yeah, no, the movie is about just like the drugs and all of the sex. And so, let me look at the cast real quick. Let's see, Boogie Nights. Who's the other main guy in it? Not Mark Wahlberg. Burt Reynolds. So if I'm not mistaken, I think the character that Burt Reynolds plays, my dad is friends with the real guy. He used to come around as a kid. That's just Hollywood.
I don't
But
understand. I don't understand why you're here fucking around with me on like a shitty YouTube channel when you have like down the street is a cult of TikTok dancers and your dad's friends with fucking Burt Reynolds associates and you went to school with a guy and whatever movie you talked about last time.
oh, with I went to school with Sam from the Batesball movie we were talking about.
Oh,
Yeah.
and then Amanda Bynes' ex-boyfriend. Like, what about that?
Oh,
Like,
Paul. Yeah, he went to. Yeah, but this is just what it's like living in LA. Like it doesn't phase me. You know, like at my okay, so at my local bar that's walking distance from me, everybody that goes there is like an ex somebody. So like one of my friends, he was the keyboardist in Yes, and he like hangs
oh,
out
that's
at the
awesome.
bar. Um, yeah, no, it's just like you just meet these people and it's like, okay, whatever, you know. Um, my uncle was the bass player in Wham, and so he passed away a couple years ago. But
Yeah.
you know, it's like that's just like to be, you know. It like I have more fun speaking with you because like we have similar interests, you know. I can't really talk about this stuff with those people. Like they just want to talk about music. I
Well,
don't want to talk about
you should go
you
talk
know,
about music and do cocaine with them.
no, because I'm like I'm too old for that. Like that was fun, you know, years ago.
What do you mean you're too old
But
for that? I don't think you
I'm
get too
like
old for anything in Hollywood.
I'm just like, yeah, but I've been here my entire life. So it's just to me,
I'd be kidding. If
I
I
don't
had,
know. We're from two different worlds.
if I lived there by the time I was 30, like I wouldn't be alive. I would have been so overindulged and like
Well, yeah, I mean that happens. There's a lot of overdoses here and a lot
I
of crazy
I would
stuff.
have I would have been like the next John Holmes. Um, as far as true crime, that's all I watched. I wrote down 2 topics because I said we need to bring 2 topics, and of course, the 2 topics are things that I'll pretty much sum up in 2 sentences. Uh, I'm tired of nostalgia content all over the internet, and I hate when people call themselves foodies. Foodies is
Oh yeah.
the worst term ever.
Yeah. I mean that's kind of like an old term that's been around, you know, since like Instagram started.
Yeah, it's just stupid. You like eating food? Do you think that makes you unique because you like food? I posted about it. My Facebook is actually like the home of my greatest posts. What did I say?
I know
It's
I see all your you like screenshot what you say.
that's old stuff though. Those are like memories.
It's funny because like you see all the stuff that you used to say and then you screenshot and post it. At the same time, every day when I go on Facebook, I also see like you said this, you know, 12 years ago. And then I'm like, oh, and I have to like delete it right away because I don't want to
I have a
see
lot of
it.
I have a lot of cringe. Just yesterday, a post came up that was me and my ex-girlfriend fighting, just right there on my Facebook wall, and it was
You
terrible.
know,
Yeah,
and
but
then it's
I've got
like,
a lot of funny ones though because I was a fucking goofy drunk kid that was like, I'm witnessing a robbery, and I'm literally probably not witnessing a robbery.
But like, remember when Facebook just started and it would be like when you were gonna type something, um, it said like your name and then like and then you would follow it.
Yeah, like how
So
you're
I have a
feeling.
lot of that. I had one and it was like Annie is, and then it said like in love with like the little heart rockets and like a million
God.
threes, and I'm like, oh, this is so cringe. I don't even know what I was doing, back in 2009. This is terrible. But yeah,
Oh,
it's just
uh,
so cringe.
but I mean today, like today, a lot of my good, like, okay, so the foodie post earlier today, I put up, swear I hate when people call themselves foodies. Like, no way, bro. You like eating food? That's so unique. I've never met another human like you. Tell me about how much you enjoy not suffocating to death too. And then yesterday, I'm glad someone made a status about this because this has been the truest thing about my whole life. Um, Somebody posted something that says, "Oh, you're seeing my ex. How's my music taste?" And I realize all my ex-girlfriends have had terrible taste in music up until the day they met me, and not a single one of them has ever thanked me. Like, no matter how badly we broke up, if any of these exes messaged me today and said, "Hey, I want to thank you for the fucking music," I'd be honored. But
Nobody's
never.
gonna do that.
Never once. No, no, not one of them ever, and I mean bad. I've dated some girls that were into, like, just terrible, terrible fucking music that I basically took under my wing and showed them good music. And no, yeah, no, never once, never any sign of appreciation, never any
Yeah,
token of
but like, what
gratitude.
else did you do to them? Like,
Oh,
because you
horrible
make it,
shit. But at
yeah.
least at least I gave them the music. That's what matters, man, is the music.
So, like, what's all this horrible shit? Because you always say that you have done something and you have this pattern.
Oh,
So,
like,
what is the pattern?
of me being a bad boyfriend?
Yeah, like, what are you cheating? Are you like just
Yeah,
like
cheating with someone. Yeah, when I was
not
younger, I cheated.
responding to texts? Like, what are you doing?
No, I cheated on my very first girlfriend.
Yeah, but how old were you? Like
I
14?
was 15.
Okay.
Okay, so, like,
So, like,
here's where my cheating pattern started. I actually have a theory. It was kind of psychologically reinforced in me that I could, like, get away with it. So my very first girlfriend, I cheated on her, and since I was 15, I was so young, it was my first girlfriend, I very naively said, "Okay, now I need to go tell her what I've done. This is the right thing to do." So I went
yeah,
and I told her what I did, and it just so happened this girlfriend was a very nice girl who I think liked me a lot, and she was upset about it for like a day or two, and she just said she was going to forgive me and we were just going to carry on.
yeah,
Okay, cool. So now this is in my head. Oh, I can do this, and I'll still keep my girlfriend and get away with it.
yeah.
So then I get to my second girlfriend, and in the middle of that relationship, a new girl moved into town, came to our school, and I wanted her now. So this time I thought, you know what? I'll do this differently. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go break up with my girlfriend, and then I'll pursue this other girl. Which, by
Mm-hmm.
the way, I didn't fully do. I talked to the new girl and made sure that I was in there before I broke up. I had backup plans, as which is wrong.
Yeah.
But so this time I broke up with my girlfriend the right way, and she screamed at me for like an entire day, like just screamed and cried and called my phone, and it was miserable. And I was like, "Fuck this!" The last time it was easier when I just cheated. So then the third girlfriend that I halfway cheated on my second girlfriend with, the third girlfriend, I cheated on her with, I'm not using this term. I mean, I don't give a fuck about what terms I use. This was like 2009. She was the school slut. I cheated on her with basically the school slut, like Dixon High's school slut. Of course, I
Yeah.
won't name her, but those two girls ended up fighting. They got in a fight at the skate park. There is a skate park right next to my school, and that's kind of where fights went down. And these two
Yeah.
girls were fighting. And I remember my friend, this is how young I was. My friend texted me, and he's like, "Hey, uh, they're literally fighting about you at the skate park." And I texted my friend, and I'm like, "Oh God, I'm in class. What do I do?" And he's like, "Bro, nothing. You sit back and you like enjoy what you've created." And I was like, "No, I feel terrible. They're gonna hurt each other. This is bad." And my friend's like, "Bro, grow the fuck up. This is exactly what you want." And I was like, "Okay." But so yeah, that was part of it. And then on top of that, I was also the kind of guy that I would cheat, but then if a girl talked to another guy, I'd be pissed. I'd be furious. Like I was literally that kind of guy.
I
Uh,
mean, this is all like high school.
yeah, but
Like, does it count? Like,
this carried on until I was My last real relationship I got into, I was 21 and it lasted till I was 26. I never cheated on her, but I came really close. I put myself into situations where I was prepared to cheat on her. But one time when I arrived at the situation, the girl had obviously been drinking way too much to justify it. It's just situations like that. So I very well was like prepared to cheat on her, just didn't because it her not right. And then I was like the worst of all to her, to be honest. I was just shitty, just like yelled a lot and like I really didn't grow. I mean, at that point I was like on drugs, so I especially didn't grow up until I was like until I was
So, so what are you hoping to get out of like your next relationship?
I'm pretty much not I don't know. I don't think I want I think love is best experienced while you're young. I don't like the idea of being 30 and meeting a girl and being all giddy and texting her like I've got a crush on some fucking girl.
Why not?
Because I'm old and that's ridiculous. Can you imagine being 30, laying up in your bed at night, being all excited to text some new girl? That's tacky as fuck, dude. That's tacky. That's a young man's game.
I don't know. I
Oh,
feel like I don't know about that.
it's
I just think
they,
about
they call it young love for a reason.
yeah, but I feel like when you meet the right person, you're gonna be like, oh,
No,
okay.
if you don't meet the right person
But
before 25, you're out. You gotta just take,
I don't
I'm gonna end up settling for a girl I don't even like. Someone like screen grab this moment so that when I like find a girl at 32, we can show her this. Whatever girl I end up with, I will bet you today that I'm settling. I'm settling for a girl just for someone to hang out with so that I'm not fucking lonely. That's what's gonna happen in my future.
man, I have like the perfect friend for you. Like you are exactly her type. Her whole history is you, and she is the
Well, wait.
female version of you. Like
When we wait,
if you caused chaos, she would cause twice as much just to fuel the fire, and you guys would be perfect. Her whole history is
well,
over
wait.
6 foot. Yeah.
Why do I want to hear about this? Wait, you don't start off by telling, here's all the guys she used to hook up with.
Well, what else do you want to know? I'm just saying that you are her type because she has a history of being with guys that are very tall, lanky, and cheat. I mean, she's like,
Is that
she's the kind of girl where like, and she has done this
is that how
where if there's like a homeless guy on the side of the road and he's really hot, like she will take him home. Like,
this does not sound appealing to me.
no, she's actually very lovely
And
and she does
second
a
of all,
fantastic job and she's very pretty.
well, I
She's
have a
very
terrible
pretty.
job.
Okay, well, she works for the post office, so
That
she's
sounds
got
like a
that
terrible
government
job too.
job. Well, I mean, it pays well and it's a
Well,
government job. She's set.
hold up, we have to rewind. Is this how you're gonna sell me to her? You're gonna say, hey, I've got this friend. He's tall and lanky, and he's cheated on all his girlfriends because that's what.
No, I mean, I would say that I have this friend that is tall and lanky and like exactly your type because she'll like just look at you and then be like, ooh, you know, but yeah, no, it's she's a lot of fun. She can cause a lot of chaos. So if you were like, I'm gonna cheat on you, then she'll go cheat on you with your best friend. Like,
Well, I can't cheat anymore because I'm not. I don't know. I definitely don't have it like I used to.
but that's good though, because she doesn't want to do that kind of stuff. She wants,
Why don't you
real
just bring her?
love.
Why don't you just bring her on stream with you?
I can, yeah, I can. I don't know what time she gets off from the post office, but she should be home.
Oh, don't talk
I'll
about the
send
post
her.
office. That's so lame.
No, she's really cool though. She's a punk chick. She's cool. She's got lots of tattoos. Very pretty.
Oh, I have no tattoos.
Her ex-boyfriends didn't either, so it's okay.
I don't understand why you think this is the way they like. This is the selling point.
No, I'll have to send her a message. But yeah, I mean the girl that was supposed to come tonight, she said that she's at work right now, but she will make it next week. So we have another lady coming next week. How exciting. I just need to remember her name.
We should play some kind of match game with her and then like me and Matt. Like start her off, we'll start her off blindfolded and like me and Matt will answer questions.
Yeah, right. Who does she want? But I think she lives in Oregon. So I mean, I guess you guys are like you're closer to Oregon than Los Angeles. So
well, it depends on where in Oregon. I used to drive. Yeah. We used to me and an ex-girlfriend used to drive up to Ashland, Oregon. It's like 4 hours from here, and it's like
she might be in Portland, if I'm not mistaken.
That's like a whole 8 hours.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure. I know Ashland is 4 hours, and then anything
True
above
love knows no time.
Yeah, this is true. I used to drive wild distances for girls.
Yeah. Yeah, no, my post office friend, she has driven to Vegas before for guys, so you know.
I have a friend in Vegas. Next time I'm there, I'll see if she'll drive out there.
Yeah. Yeah. No.
I wish Tristan was still in the chat because Tristan is the guy that introduced me to my friend in Vegas. He's Tristan's friend, and we'd be making jokes about.
Does it say how many people are? Does it say if anybody's watching? What?
No, no one's now. People are checking in and out. Like Matt checked back in for a minute, and I think we kind of ignored him, or didn't see the chat. I feel like I had something else to bring up, but I can't remember. Before we get to, I actually wrote a story for this week. It's not kind of, it's not any kind of creative writing genius.
Oh, I really actually struggled with this prompt. I had like I'm not going to say it like a mental breakdown at all, but like it just brought up a lot of like negative feelings. And so I wrote this like, I don't know, this like kind of poem about it. Because I was like, I don't want to think about it. And then even writing the poem like brought up like negative feelings. So I'm like, let me just get this out of here.
Yeah.
So, because I'm not like I don't like to argue and I don't like to fight. But there's two people in my life that have brought the absolute worst out of me. One of them being my dad, but I didn't write about him. So it's just like I avoid negativity and fighting at all costs. And so like having to like think about that was quite difficult.
That is actually, when you mentioned that you don't like to fight, that is a really good way to put one of my when I talk about the negative traits I used to have in like my dating life is I really used to enjoy like a good fight. But
yeah.
The only good part I can say about getting older is that now I don't have the energy to fight. Honestly, nowadays I probably should find a girlfriend that would just walk all over me because I would just have no problem just saying fine, I'm going to bed.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
But when I was younger, I was way too feisty, and I would pick a fight about anything. That is like probably one of the biggest things that that was like a flaw of mine was that like the drama of a good fight with a girlfriend is like I would go home and sleep perfectly that night. Like,
yeah. That is atrocious. I cannot.
Yeah.
You know, I forgot to say earlier when you were saying like, oh, I can't be like finding my one true love at 30. I know I've mentioned this before, but all I think about is in that show, Curb Your Enthusiasm. And this character, this guy, Richard Lewis, he's like in his 80s and he's like, I'm still trying to find my true love. And then Larry David is like, what do you mean? Like, you're dying. Like, what do you mean? And I just think about like, what do you mean you're 80? What do you mean you're trying to find like the love of your life? Like your life is over. So, because he like in the show, he starts newly dating a woman and he's just like, Larry, don't fuck this up for me. Like she could be the love of my life. And then he's like, what are you talking about?
It's super true.
It's like,
if you're not married by the time you're like 26 or 27, and you gotta.
Just, I don't know. I feel like in this day of age, I don't know.
No, in this day and age, yeah, that's true. But this day and age is just a bunch of fucking like hood rat shit and hooligans and deviancy. Yeah, I sound like an old man talking like this now, but
you know, I read something a couple weeks ago about how with the younger generation, they're tired of hookup culture. which I was quite surprised about. But I think like the younger kids, they're so mentally exhausted with what's going on in the world. It kind of makes sense, like that they're tired of that too. They're tired of like a wasteful planet and then like people wasting each other. But I feel like our generation was all about like how many bodies can we get?
Yeah,
You
I
know?
do think
So
millennials is probably, like, the worst
yeah.
generation. But Gen Z is
Yeah.
also fuck Gen Z too, I don't believe they're tired of hookup culture. I think people that say that are boys that aren't getting laid. I mean,
I don't
honestly.
know. I don't know who wrote the article. I didn't read too much about it. I just saw the headline. But is Gen Z what year is that?
I don't know, I just know they're right below us. We're on, like,
Oh, okay.
the very tail end of millennial, like, we're almost Gen Z, but we're millennials.
I think that's like 96 to like 2000 something, 2003 something. I'm like, that's
Yeah.
weird. I like remember those years. But it's interesting though, like people that are born in 95 or like 96, they're like completely different from us. At least that's what I've noticed. Even though it's like a year or two off, it's just like they're on a different wavelength
Yeah.
that I don't even understand. I don't know. But yeah, I don't understand the kids these days. I see them all the time because I live near a school and I'm like, I don't know. I don't get them.
Yeah, they're weird as fuck.
But maybe that's like what adults thought of us. You
Definitely.
know? They're like, what the fuck is wrong with them?
I
I
think that
don't
yeah,
know.
absolutely. I know
Cuz
that's how my parents thought.
cuz I'm sure like they saw all of us like in our emo phase
Oh,
and
dude,
thought like, what the fuck?
remember Fox News was, like, running segments about emo, like, panicking about how kids are cutting themselves and
Yeah.
getting in mosh pits at shows, like, yeah, the world thought we
Yeah.
were all gonna, like, kill ourselves.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was great. Do you remember that song? Like during like the early emo phase, there was that song that came out on YouTube. It was "I'm an Emo Kid."
Yeah, I
Do you
hated
remember that? Like,
those early YouTube.
yeah,
My
no, that was,
mom my mom has it completely my mom knows everything, and I didn't realize I think I've talked about this. I didn't realize this until I got older, but especially on, like, the scene kid phase, when it was, like, straightened black hair and, like, black stud belts,
yeah.
my mom was always like, "Oh, you guys are just a rehash of, like, '80s hair metal." And
Yeah, I could see
I
that.
was like, "No, that's not true, you're just old." And I swear to God, one day I saw a picture of, like, Motley Crue from their Shout at the Devil period, and I was like, "Holy fuck, my mom was, like, totally right."
Yeah, no, it makes sense. That never occurred to me back then, but yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, you look at, like,
I
Nikki
j-
Sixx with, like, the teased black hair, like, it's
yeah,
yeah.
I just remember like going on MySpace and seeing all those highly edited photos of
Yeah,
girls with
yeah.
their like teased hair, and I just thought they were so beautiful. Like,
What
how did
was it? They
they
have
do
no
that?
nose because the photos are so, like, oversaturated or
Yeah,
whatever the
yeah,
word is.
yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly. And it was like always like a mirror pic where they're like bending down and like
yeah.
holding the camera to them. Yeah.
When
I
I
was,
was
yeah.
s what were you gonna say?
Oh, no, go ahead. Go ahead.
When I was, like, 14, I got into a little, uh, long-running MySpace back and forth with, like, a real scene queen from, like, Ohio. I mean, it could have been, like, a 70-year-old man for all I know, but, she, like, introduced me to Bring Me the Horizon, and at the time, like, I thought they were too heavy. I didn't, like, pray for plagues because I was so young. But she was, like, so hot, and for I mean, her picture, her MySpace pictures, and, they were all me it was, like, absolute MySpace scene queen, and I was, like I thought I was in love over the internet with this girl, and we talked for a couple months, and then, she stopped talking to me.
You know, I don't know why yesterday I was driving somewhere and for some reason I was thinking about something and I was thinking about how you and I were talking about how MySpace went through phases and then like towards the end it was cool to have like nothing on your profile at
The
all.
minimalist.
Yeah, like you were so cool if like all it said was like just like a single word in your bio.
Yeah.
It was like, who is this person? Like how did they how do they make their profile so minimal? I was thinking about that. I feel like a lot of the kids that were like drug dealers were doing that. At least in my school, I remember that.
To me, that's like what the cheerleaders at high school were doing, or in like middle school. And
Really? Oh no, I remember like all the girls had to have like all the flashy stuff. And I do remember like all the kids that were on drugs, that was their profile, was like minimal, and they were kind of like, we don't want to get caught, like we can't have anything.
that's super weird. Yeah, when I first
Yeah.
started on MySpace, it was flashy. You had a long page with all the moving shit. And then by the
Yeah.
time MySpace was done, like the popular girls in my school, this is why I copied them. They had
Yeah.
the MySpace page where it was so short that you couldn't even scroll up or down.
Yeah.
And it would just be like a white background, maybe like some polka dots, like very simple, like
Yeah.
top 4 friends, maybe like one comment always displaying. Yeah,
Yeah.
that was like a popular girl thing on MySpace at in my school.
Yeah. No, I think, yeah, I think I might have mentioned this when we spoke about it before. I do remember like there was this one girl, and she, like this goth girl I went to school with, and then she made like a layout of like somebody being like mutilated. And so like when you would go to her page, it was like very graphic. And I don't know why, because I was probably like 11 or something like that. I remember like writing a comment like it's, like about her layout and how it was like hard to look at. And then of
God.
course everybody was laughing at me, but I'm like, then it's like, well, why go to her profile?
Did I ever tell you about there's a MySpace comment that I got from a girl. So I started my first band in 8th grade, and it
Hmm.
was just me on guitar and my friend on drums, and my drummer friend's brother on vocals. He couldn't sing, but he was my friend's brother, so he was there to sing.
Yeah.
So at this point, I was in 8th grade. I was into like Guns N' Roses. I'd read Slash's autobiography and it changed my life. I had an AC/DC shirt. So to me, this was like, I'm in a band now. I play guitar. I need to start telling girls this, especially in 8th grade, because my big come up didn't start until high school. I was a loser. Like I got straight up bullied in like middle school.
Hmm.
So I was like, okay, this is it. I'm in a band. And I remember I got myself into a MySpace comment conversation with this girl. Her name was Christina.
Yeah.
I think we still follow each other on Instagram. We were always just kind of like acquaintances. We were like the best of friends. But I always thought she was, she was popular. She was a popular girl. So this was like a good way for me to test out the waters of telling a girl that I'm in a band. I remember very specifically, like the comment to a T. She commented back like, "Oh, what's up? What are you up to?" And I said, "Oh, I just finished band practice. Like, what are you doing?" And her comment that she wrote back was, you're in a band? That's weird. LOL." Or no, sorry. It's you're in a band, loser. LOL. JK, but that is kind of weird. I was devastated. I was like, it's my
What?
whole like everything I knew was like flipped upside down. I was like, there must have been like I had a montage in my head of like me burning the AC/DC shirt and like throwing Slash's vocal. Like it's like, oh, so this isn't what you're supposed to do.
But I
Uh,
feel like, well, that's interesting because that reminds me of that meme of like when it was like that meme of like the high school girls that are like, "Oh, you're in a band," and then it's like them at 30 and they're like, "Oh, you're in a band," you know?
yeah. Well, the thing was, the girl that I was talking to, she was never like into band guys or like rock band culture. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
looking
yeah,
back, it was a stupid choice for me to choose her as the girl that I was saying this to. In my town, it was like you were either into like hip hop and like top 40 pop radio,
yeah,
or you got into like MySpace, like emo music or emo sub shit or whatever. But once I got to high school, it's like I said, when the big come up starts, and then like these girls that would have called me a loser for being in a band start coming to my shows.
yeah.
But in 8th grade, no, it was not the move to be like in a band. And
When
yeah,
I was, yeah,
I was just gonna say I still remember. I damn near want to message her on Instagram and say, hey, because she doesn't remember this shit. This was 8th grade, but I hold on to everything. So I
yeah,
always want to hit her up and be like, hey, do you remember when you fucking called me a loser for being in a band in 8th grade?
you could. She
Uh,
probably wouldn't remember.
No, she wouldn't remember, and hopefully she would think it's funny, but it would be bad. I am a loser now, so I have to wait until I'm not a loser to like. I can't hit her up now and be like, "Remember when you said I was a loser? Well, I am."
Still am. That's so funny. Yeah, when I was in high school, there were a lot of bands, and there was one band in particular that's like, it was really big, like where I live, for many years. And I hung out with them like every day. And that band lasted for like 15 years. And then what happened was, is like the singer, he since like high school, he had this kind of like Jim Morrison mentality where he felt like he always had to be drunk all the time and like
It's
be on
true.
drugs.
It's true.
And then what ended up happening is, like, because now like we're in our 30s, is that like everybody else was like, okay, it's like time to grow up. And then the singer, because he had been doing drugs since the age of like 12, he's homeless now. And it's hard to see because I actually do see him like on the side of the road. And he's still doing drugs, but he's homeless, and he has this like big cyst on the side of his face, I think from like, shooting meth into his face.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, that can happen. It's also weird. I mean, I don't know if like you've seen this with any people that like with anyone that you've been to school with, but here in LA, it's weird seeing people that you went to school with become homeless, because I've seen a lot of that happen. And it's very bizarre.
I lived in a car for like 3 months when I was doing drugs, so I am the guy that became homeless from.
But like the people that I know that I went to school with that are homeless, they're like fucking like pushing a cart, like, sleeping under the tree.
Like
It's
actually,
like
kind of out of their minds.
yeah, like living in a car, like that's one thing. You can pretty much be like sight unseen, like no one's gonna see you.
Yeah.
But like the people that I know, like they're out there, like the guy that was in this band, he's literally on the freeway off ramp with his guitar, just high out of his mind, still singing. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? Like, we used to hang out all the time, but now I'm like, I can't talk to him. I need to run the other way.
Well, I tell you what, I bet you he's got some damn good rock and roll songs in his back pocket if somebody would give him a chance.
I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen him in a couple of weeks. I don't know if he's even still alive. Don't know if you're doing meth all the time like that, like, and you're homeless.
Was that his drug of choice?
Yes.
That's kind of a strange. I mean, some rock stars do meth. Burt McCracken from The Used, famously did meth, but usually meth is not my first choice when I think of rock star drugs.
Yeah,
I think it was the original. I think it was the original drummer of Megadeth said to Dave Mustaine, "If you want to be great, you have to do heroin." So I'm always surprised when rock stars choose meth. If not heroin, is like cocaine, maybe, but
yeah.
meth is like, you don't hear about a lot of rock stars just doing meth. Because that's like one of the main drugs you think of when you think about people that get high and lose their minds. Like, you can do heroin your whole life and still be like a relatively.
From what I can observe, because he did like all drugs, like including heroin.
Is a garbage junkie.
But I think what happened is like when the band broke up, that caused him to be like, okay, well, I have nothing left now.
Yeah.
And then he started heavily getting into that.
What's funny is that plays perfectly into my story that I wrote for our fight subject tonight.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we could talk about it now.
Yeah.
If you want to talk about arguments. So what's the story?
Okay, I wrote it down. I went with the breakup of the band. I was gonna do the story of the baseball bats and the guy with the fight, but there was nothing to it. Like, this kid talked to my girlfriend too much. I didn't like it. I challenged him to a fight. I showed up with bats and friends, and he, of course, was smart and was like, "Never mind. Like, you've got bats and friends. Like, it's all good." And then we went about our day. Actually, what's funny? What I was thinking about after I typed that post, he wasn't even talking to my girlfriend. Okay, another example of how I was as a boyfriend. I had a whole separate girlfriend. This guy was talking to my ex-girlfriend, which I didn't like, even though I had a new girlfriend. So I went to fight this guy. because he was talking to my ex-girlfriend while I had a separate girl. Like, I was a terrible
What?
person.
That makes no sense.
Because,
Oh
like,
my God.
you can't once I dated a girl, no one can talk to her. Like, I was a bad person.
Like, even when you were done with her and you had broken up, you're
Well,
like,
at the
nobody
same
else can
time
date her?
this was my Taylor Swift when she talks about how everybody has that one person that drifts in and out. You're never truly done. This was my
Yeah.
off and on throughout.
Okay.
Yeah. So I knew every time we broke up and I got a new girlfriend, I knew in the back of my head I would end up back with this girlfriend.
So do you still feel like that with her?
Well, no, we're still friends. She's married and like is like
Oh,
pregnant now, and
okay. So
yeah,
that ship has sailed.
yeah, no, and she's turned
Okay.
out great. Like I said, we're still friends. We send each other songs like once in a while when she finds a new song she thinks I'll like, or I find one that I think she'll like once in
Yeah.
a blue moon. And she's doing great. She's grown up super well. She's one of the few that I would never name on here just because,
Yeah.
she's like
Respect.
she's a fucking adult.
Yeah.
But yeah, she was like in high school. It was kind of like we were like weirdly bad for each other. We kind of just treated each other like whenever we needed something or we're lonely, we'd go back. And then whenever we were busy, we'd piss off and
Yeah.
but okay, speaking of guys and bands that break up and start doing drugs, God, this is like a long one. I wrote this shit literally at work today. So it's not like it's not any kind of creative writing. It's literally just
It's
me telling you
okay. I did
it's
the
just
same thing today.
yeah, it's just me telling a story because it matched the prompt.
Yeah.
So the prompt was name an argument or a fight, or talk about an argument or a fight. So I wrote, it's called The Breakup. I had to title it.
Okay.
I wrote, I used to play guitar for a band called Champagne Girls.
Right.
Originally we were called Ghost Stories, but we went on to change our name to Champagne Girls.
Okay.
Contrary to popular belief, Champagne Girls was the greatest band to ever come from California and the hardest partying band California has ever known. These are facts. This is the story. This is the story of the demise of Champagne Girls. After jamming hard and partying even harder for about 2 years, it was time to record our first full-length album. By this point, we had released a 5-track EP, a short 2-track EP, and a few other spontaneously and messily recorded demos and acoustic jam sessions. So the first mission was to decide which studio we needed to record the album with. I instantly knew exactly which studio we needed to go to. It was an affordable analog studio in the Bay Area that some of our favorite bands and biggest influences had recorded at. To this day, I still believe my choice of studio was the correct choice. And although I can't say for sure, I believe other band members knew I was right. I've never asked them that question to this day, but I think they knew that I was right. Now, I have to preface this by saying that although I believe my choice was the right choice, today I still regret the way I handled the whole scenario. So then there's some context. For some context, our drummer at the time, he was the art director, and I wrote in parentheses, I believe it was art director. He was the art director for a record label. And I don't want to name the label, but I can at least say it was a big independent label, and many of the bands on its roster made perfectly good livings just by playing music on the label. So basically, it would have been a dream come true for us to be on this label.
Mm-hmm.
So after I had voiced my opinion on the studio I believed we should go to, our drummer brought up another studio that he wanted us to go to. So now we're debating between these two studios. Now, again, we get into territory that is my theory. I've never asked the other band members this question to this day, but I believe the bandmates knew my studio choice was the best choice, but I think they were thinking that if our drummer liked the album, he might bring that album into his boss and possibly have gotten us in some talks with the label. I think that was kind of the mindset.
Mm-hmm.
But regardless, the arguments ensued and I lost the debate. So this is where I start regretting the way I handled it. I was strongly against our drummer's studio choice, as I believed it wasn't suitable for our sound at all. In fact, I thought it was the exact opposite of the sound we had spent 2 years going for. So when the choice was made, I essentially pouted like a child and said I'm not going to put any money toward the recordings. Our singer said that's fine, but then I won't be allowed to record my guitar parts. He would do them instead. So I said that was perfectly fine. I'm okay with that. I don't remember the time between the decision and actually stepping into the studio. I'm sure they were tense. At the time, I was working overnight at a shipping warehouse, so I was always tired. I do remember that. Fast forward to the first day we had booked at the studio. I got off work at around 4 a.m. I drove home, I changed my clothes and got ready, and then I drove straight to the band's headquarters in our singer's garage. So now keep in mind I'm running on no sleep. I still went to the studio every day with the band, but I spent most of the time sleeping in the studio and complaining about how the recordings were sounding. Although there were a few times when the band woke me up and asked me to record my guitar parts because they acknowledged I played them the best way. And then I wrote, "That's not a flex, that's just how I remember it." The studio was miserable. We were all constantly fighting with the engineer as he constantly took creative control and made decisions that went completely against our wishes. I think these recording sessions went on for about a week, maybe a little more. At this time, I really do think everyone was realizing that the studio was a mistake. However, looking back, I still wish I had been a good bandmate and just made the best of it. By the time we finished with the days we had paid for, the album was not done. It was time to book more days and pay more. But our time there was so miserable that we just didn't. We went home, or no, we took our half finished recordings and we went home. And we all stopped talking. This would have been our breakup, but we had one more show booked in the near future. So when that show day came, we all showed up at Champagne Girls headquarters without any practice for probably a couple weeks. We loaded up the gear and we drove to the show. This show is now notorious among our band's lore. We didn't hang out before playing. I think we all were just running around the venue with various people in attendance. We all knew this was it for the band without acknowledging it. Our old drummer was there, and I remember sitting in my car with him and eating and snorting Xanax. I can't remember exactly how much, but for some reason the number 7 has always stuck with me. I think I ate half of those 7 bars and crushed and snorted the other half. As my way of showing that I was upset with the situation that we were in, I got completely trashed. When it came time to play, we set up our gear on stage and we started our first song. Instead of playing, I sat behind my amp on the stage and I smoked cigarettes while the rest of the band played the song. The whole show was a mess, mostly because of me. I picked and chose which parts I wanted to play and which parts I'd spend sitting and lighting cigarettes. Half the show consisted of the band yelling at me on stage. Some of the songs even started with just a guitar line that I was meant to play to start the song, and each time I would delay the songs by playing nonsense or just flat out not playing. Our bass player's mom was in the audience too. That was fun. After we finished our disastrous set, I went backstage where all the bands had their equipment sitting, and I pissed on one of the other band's guitar player's amplifiers. It was the head to his half stack. I wrote, "In a fair and just world, that guitarist would have walked backstage in that moment and seen me pissing on his amp and whooped my ass, but it didn't happen." I finished my piss, probably talked to a few more people in my blackout, and I drove myself home. There's plenty more to that night that I got myself into. Personally, like I picked up a girlfriend in the middle of that blackout. But those are stories for other times. Oh, my mouth is terribly dry. After, after that show, we stopped talking again. I remember after a couple of months, our singer texted the group chat and he asked, "So we're broken up, right?" I believe I promptly responded and said yes. And that was that. A quick side note that shows how detrimental the breakup was to my mental health and how reckless I become when I have no creative outlet. Not even a month after that breakup, I got myself arrested. I spent my first night in jail, and then the very next day, I got myself 5150'd and had to spend 3 days in a loony bin. So, like I said, looking back, I wish I had handled that whole situation differently. That band had the gusto to go far. We were all in our creative and artistic peaks at the same time, and we threw it all away over what I jokingly call creative differences. And that was our breakup story.
So, why did you get 5150? What did you do?
The 5150, I actually completely dispute, like, to this day. I think it was kind of bullshit. I spent the night in jail. My friend picked me up. They let me out. When jail lets you look at, like when they let you out at like 4 in the morning, they don't give a fuck about you. Like, I remember they're like, "Okay, like 4 in the morning, you can go." I don't have my car. I had just gotten it taken away from me. That has a lot to do with what I got arrested for.
Mhm.
And, so I was like, "Oh, well, can I use your phone?" They're like, "No." You're straight up there like, "No, you're not our problem." I was like, "It's 4 in the morning. It's pitch black outside. I'm in Fairfield. Like, I'm gonna get stabbed if I walk down the street." They're like, "Yeah, no, tough." Very luckily, my friend that I was with had told my mom, and I think my mom asked him if he would go pick me up. So I swear to God, like, I walked out of the jail building
Mhm.
and like a fucking like shining angel coming down the road comes my friend's car like 4:30 in the morning. So he picks me up. I go home.
How did he know to be there at that time?
I think it was just coincidence. I think he was just gonna go sit there and wait for me until I got out.
Oh, okay.
But this whole night's very blurry. I was on a lot of shit, and then
Mhm.
even afterward, I think it's like weird, like trauma response stuff. Because after I sobered up, I still don't remember a lot from like even the 5150. I could tell you about some times in the loony bin, but there are times that are kind of blank. Um, so I went home. I got in a fight with my mom, obviously, and then I think my stepdad got home from work, or he woke up. I can't remember if it was a weekend or a weekday. But once he came into the room, that's when shit got pretty wild. So I left the house and I went to my friend's house, the one that picked me up.
Mhm.
But he wasn't home, so it was just his mom. But I'd known his mom throughout my 4 years in high school, so it was cool. But she was asking me about like what's going on. She's the one that was just at the show that saw me
Yeah.
on stage blacked out. So she's now convinced that I have a drug problem, which at the time I really didn't. I had a partying problem. No, really what happened was the band had broken. Like, I literally became aimless. Like, once I'd been in a band since I was 13 years old. Now I'm 21, and for the first time, I'm not playing music. Like, I literally just became aimless. Um, I used to be able to control like, I would party when I played shows, but without, a band or shows to play or anything to look forward to, I just was just partying 24/7 at this point because there was just no goal.
Yeah.
But, I mean, the best way I can put it is I feel like she lied to me. So she was talking to me, and I was telling her the situation with my family, and like I just got out of jail for literally one night. It wasn't that big of a deal, but I think I just said I was 21. I think at this time I was 19 or 20. But regardless, I was just in a bad mood, and I was being fucking dramatic. I was being a drama queen. I'm still kind of halfway blanking on my memory, but I remember her asking me if she could take me to the doctor. And I don't remember if I asked why. I think I just trusted her. It was like, I mean, yeah, sure, I guess why not? Like, so she was like one of my second moms that I know in all of high school.
Mhm.
So she takes me to the doctor, and they're like, she basically talked to them without me. So I'm sure she told them that I need some kind of psych evaluation,
Yeah.
which this is where I started getting pissed because she told me nothing. Like, she literally just said, "Can I take you to the doctor?"
Yeah.
So I'm sure she told them I need some kind of psych evaluation. And the doctor starts asking me all the questions. And I'm sure I answered them all very dramatically, like as a fucking 19, 20-year-old drama queen who just spent a night in jail, you know,
Yeah.
and got in a fight with his parents. And like the next thing I know, they handed me like a set of scrubs and they're like, okay, go to the bathroom, put these on. So I walked to the bathroom and there's a security guard following me. And that's kind of when I was first like, no, this is weird. I don't know why you're following me. But yeah, I feel like my friend's mom lied to me. It's like the most plain way to put it. Like
So then
had she told me I'm gonna take you in for a psych evaluation, I would have said, okay, well let me like straighten up and like I
yeah.
don't actually want to do anything any kind of harm. You know what I mean?
So then, like, what happened? You put on the scrubs, and then what did they do?
The way they handle this shit is so terrible. So I'm obviously not fucking psychotic, right? Like
Yeah.
I'm clearly a 19-year-old kid who's just having like a fucking dramatic episode because he got in trouble with his parents. Like that is very clearly what's going on.
Yeah.
And they put me in the back of an ambulance. They put me on a stretcher and like tie me down. And they put me in the back of an
Wow.
ambulance. And the entire time I'm sitting there perfectly coherent. This part I remember. there's two like nurses in the ambulance with me, and I was like, "Hey, where are we going?" And they were like, "Oh, don't worry, you'll be fine." And I was like, "Okay, that's all good, but like, I just want to know where we're going." Like, I remember being perfectly calm and just like, where are we going? Like, I probably looked
Yeah.
like there's like, "Oh no, it's okay, you're gonna be fine." And I was like, "Okay, yeah, you just said that, but like, I just want to know where we're going. It's like fucking midnight at this point. I
Yeah.
don't know where my friend's mom is. I'm like, why am I in an ambulance?" They're like, "Oh, don't worry, it's gonna be fine." Like, they don't tell you anything.
Yeah.
And like I said, I'm not fucking banging my head on walls. Like, I'm clearly coherent and talking and normal, and yet they just don't tell you. They're just like, "Oh, you're gonna be fine." I was like, Okay, like I heard you the first 4 times, but I'm an adult. I want to know where you're taking me." So we get to the place, and I think by this point, I was just like so tired and like just annoyed that by the time we got to the place, they literally walked me into a room and they're like, "Here's your bed." Like, again, still not telling me. And they don't tell me anything until the very next day when it's like the sun comes up.
Mhm.
And I walk out of the room and I walk into the front office and they're like, "Okay, yeah, so, we're holding you on like a mandatory 72-hour psych evaluation." The best part of that whole story is my introduction to this place was I walk out into the front lobby. I get to the front desk. I ask them what's up. They finally tell me. I call my mom from one of the phones, and I was like, "Hey, can you come get me?" And she's like, "I can't. Like, it's like law. You have to stay there for 3 days." And as soon as I got off the phone, I hang up the phone, and I'm kind of looking around at the room, and I swear to God, it's like a scene out of a movie. This old lady in scrubs, who's clearly a patient, walks up to me, and she grabs my arms, and she's drooling from her mouth,
Oh no.
and she starts freaking out about how I look like her father.
Oh no.
And she's crying and saying, "I know you'd come back for me. I knew you'd come back for me." And so I'm instantly like, okay, like they fucked up. Like, I'm pissed at my friend's mom again. I'm like, what? The funny part about this, basically security and nurses came and pulled this lady off of me is what happened.
Oh
So
my god, that's
the
terrifying.
funniest part about this 3-day stay is that I ended up getting my way in with the popular kids. And the popular kids would, like, go into the nurse's, like, doctor room, and they would steal nicotine patches for me, and, like, we'd
Wait,
sit.
what are the popular kids? Like, are these, like, people your age? Or are they, like,
Bro,
just, like
the loony bin is just as clicky as high school, dude. There are the actual crazies, nobody fucks with them. In fact, the popular kids usually spend their time trying to get the crazies in trouble so they get taken to, like, a higher security room because we don't wanna be around them. Then there's the
So
old people. The old people
yeah.
sit around and hang out, and then there's the popular kids. So we literally had a table in
So
the rec room.
what do they consist of? Like, are they just normal people that
They
are
they were kids that were closer to my age. They were all, like, in their 20s. One of them had a mohawk. One of them was a girl with a camo jacket with, like, studs on the shoulders.
yeah.
I remember this kid, Kyle. He was the one with the mohawk. He was the one who taught me how to survive there.
For 3 days?
He was like, "Bro, none of us are actually crazy, but if they're gonna keep you here, just do whatever the fuck you want and act like you're crazy." So we just, like, tortured the nurses. The bathroom in my room had no door on it.
Yeah.
So I would, like, take my mattress and, like, I would barricade the door with my mattress on, like, a shelf in a cabinet, and they would come in every day and get mad at me, and, like I said, the same kid with the mohawk, he would go into the nurse's office and steal nicotine patches for me because they wouldn't let me smoke cigarettes, and we would go to all the classes and just, like, dick around.
So, what happens after the 3 days? They're just like, "You're good?"
Yeah, in 3 days, you go talk to a doctor. Um, the doctor basically tells you, "We just kidnapped you to make money because the state pays us. This is bullshit. We'll let you go home."
That's insane.
Yeah, and I remember
That's
just
crazy.
being completely pissed at my friend's mom. I was like, "Dude, if you would have told me." And my friend's mom was a social worker, so, like, she knew very
Oh, well,
well.
of course, that's why she's gonna do that.
She
Yeah.
knew very well that this is like, she knew what she was doing,
Yeah.
is my problem with it.
Yeah.
And I felt betrayed. I was like, "Dude, I've known you. I've been in I was in a band. I've been in a band with your son for, like, 5 years at this point. Like, you know me. You've seen me drunk. You've seen, like, you've pretty much been like a second mom to me. Now you're over here lying to me, getting me tricked into getting, like, locked up in the fucking loony bin."
You told her that?
No, I never got to talk to her again.
Why?
it just kinda stopped. I mean, me and that friend kinda just stopped hanging out.
Yeah. Interesting.
I
Okay.
I I definitely put her through, like, a fair share of shit. I remember one time I got, like, blacked out on Xanax with this kid, and I brought this kid over to her house, her son's house, her house,
Mhm.
and he was trying to, like, trick my friend into giving him money so we could go buy more drugs. It's, like, 2 in the morning, and this kid's just, like, banging on my friend's door. I'm just blacked out, fucking sitting there, like, and he's banging on the door, and my friend's mom opens the door. It's, like, 2 in the morning, and she's like, "Anthony." That's what all my friends'
Yeah.
moms called me, my middle name. She's like, "What the fuck you doing?" It's, like, 2 in the morning. That episode I actually feel hella bad about. I, like, scared his little sisters, and my friend had to come to the door and, like, threaten to beat up the kid I was with, and the kid I was with is like, "Your friend Anthony robbed a drug dealer, and he's gonna kill us if you don't give us, like, 200 bucks right now," or something crazy like that, and but still,
Crazy.
like, don't get me locked up in the fucking loony bin. Like, I don't know, maybe that was her revenge for that episode,
Yeah.
but that was, like, one of the worst. Well, that was, like, one of the worst things, but the loony bin itself, by the time I was in there after, like, a day and a half, I was having a great time, you know? I was, like, sticking nicotine patches on my arm and just, like, torturing nurses. It was kinda fun.
So then what have you been doing for like the past 10 years? Like since your band broke up?
What do you mean?
Well, okay, so you said you were like what, like 19 when your band broke up? So like
I was 20.
okay, so what have you been doing like for the past 10 years?
Like, creatively or just with my life?
Yeah, like with your life.
When I
Are you
got out
just
of the when I got out of the loony bin, I went home. I had a girlfriend. I had a girlfriend that was a heroin addict. And I remember when I got out, I called her. We broke up pretty shortly after then, and then pretty soon after that, I turned 21. My parents went through a rough phase that was caused by me. They would never say that, but it was caused by me and all that shit. So I think they were thinking they were gonna split for a while. Luckily, they didn't. But, for a while, when it seemed like they might have been considering it, my mom rented a house, like, on her own with me and my
Mhm.
siblings, and then, I was I think I was working at the fucking Dollar Tree at that time, like, I was just a bum. But my mom, when her and my stepdad decided that they weren't gonna split, they were gonna keep the family together, my mom and my siblings would go over back to the house, and they would leave me in the rented house alone for, like, sometimes, like, a week at a time.
Mhm.
And then I turned 21, and at that point is when I met the girl that I was with for, like, 5 years.
Mhm.
So, she would come over and basically keep me company for, like, the entire time, like, I was home alone. And then my mom moved back into the house with my stepdad. I still wasn't cool with my stepdad at the time, though, so I just kinda had to go, but very luckily, my girlfriend's mom, uh, like, the greatest person in the world, I never she, like, helped me get clean, she helped me get off of drugs even when I was, like, dragging her daughter into all this shit, and, like, she was great. There's actually a great story. I remember when, her mom when I was, like, in heroin withdrawal, her mom took me to the ER, and I remember the doctor asking us, like, "What's our relation?" And my girlfriend's mom was like, "Oh, this is my daughter's boyfriend." And I swear the doctor looked at her like, "Tell your daughter to fucking dump this guy." Like, it was the funniest moment. But she was very kind. She let me come live at her house for a while, and then, after
So then
that
like what have you been doing for the past 5 years since you broke up with that girl?
sharpening saw blades and sitting at home.
So how did you get that job? You went from Dollar Tree to working at
No, I've
uh
my job history, it looks like a drug addict's job history.
it's
I went from
okay.
Dollar Tree to, I think a guitar shop after that. There was a gas station somewhere in between.
Okay.
There was a grocery store before the saw sharpening place. There was sales. I was a salesman at AT&T. That was fun. I'm terrible at sales.
But
But the commission was kinda cool whenever I actually sold shit. I could do, like, a whole, like, episodic series about working for, like, a service provider. That was a terrible job. You basically the name of the job is straight up ripping people off. Like your general manager is like lie to people, rip them off, sign them up for shit they don't want. Like it's crazy.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
yeah,
I've worked at a grocery store. I
the
worked at
grocery store was fun. I just stocked shelves.
yeah, I don't know. I worked at a Trader Joe's in
Of course you
college.
did.
And because they like opened up a new one where I live, and then I just like I needed some extra cash, but I hated it. I'm the kind because I don't know. I feel like I have to be an entrepreneur. Like I have to work for myself. I'm really terrible at working for people
Yeah.
because like I just see through shit. Like I just, if somebody like tells me to do something, I'm like, well, why? Like what is, like I need like I just rebel. So that's why like yeah, like I left Trader Joe's and then I started my own business and I've just flourished with that. But like like I just remember like somebody being like, okay, like, hey Annie, can you go get carts? And I'm like, why? Like it's hot outside. Like why would I do that? It just
Yeah.
um but then I remember like they said at Trader Joe's, like you always have to be smiling. Like you just always have to be happy. And I just couldn't comprehend that. And then I ended up leaving because they were like, so we're not going to give you a raise because you don't smile too much and you have
Yeah.
they actually said like you just have like they went like this like you have like one of these faces like a bitch face. They said that and I was like, okay, wow, great. But they actually said that to like a couple of the other girls there. They were like, you can't be depressed at work, like it's not your problem. And I do remember one of the girls I worked with, like her sister had like died in this horrific car crash and she was so fucking distraught and depressed. And they were like, so when are you coming back to work? Like you can't be depressed. They didn't give her a raise either. It was crazy. um but it's yeah, I don't know, it was just I hated it, but some people love it. I mean, Trader Joe's, like they pay their employees a ton of
Yeah.
money. I know a guy that's been working at a Trader Joe's for like 20 years and he makes 80,000 a year bagging groceries.
Jesus.
Yeah, and then like how it works I know is like the managers make anywhere from like 250,000 to 500,000 a year. And then like if you're there for a long time, like the company will like fly you around the world to try different foods in different countries. Like if you're fully committed to like be that person, like you could make a lot of money. But I'm like, nah, I see through that. Like I can't.
Yeah. I would hate that too. I got really lucky. I worked at a grocery outlet,
Oh,
and
okay, yeah, we have those here.
grocery outlets are franchised. So you just
Yeah,
so the one I worked at, it was
like
just
what's that commercial? Grocery outlet, bargain market.
yeah. So I worked for it was just a married couple. They were just like a young married couple. They were really nice. I kind of miss them. I really liked them. I feel terrible because I relapsed when I was at that job. So dude, the owner, he was really cool dude. I sometimes I'm like too embarrassed to do stuff like this, but I really wish I had the guts to like go in places and like apologize to people now that I'm clean. But like
You
I
can't.
remember one time he like walked out onto the sales floor, and I'm literally standing there. I was stocking some shelf and I just nodded off standing up. Like
Oh no.
he walks out and I'm literally just sitting there like this, standing up on my feet. And he's all, Robert, why don't you just go home? And I was like, no, dude, I promise. He's like, no, just go home.
Oh shame.
Then there was one more time, one of my favorite ones. I feel terrible. I was late every day because when you're doing drugs, when the dealer calls, you got to go.
Yeah.
So one day he calls me into the office and he like goes in on me for like 20 minutes. He's like, dude, you're late every fucking day. I really like you. You're good at you're good at the shit, but you're later. He was like, I have to fire you if you're late again. Like, you
Hmm.
cannot be late anymore. I swear to God, the very next day, I walked in. I must have been like 30 minutes late. And it just so happened that he was working right in the section where I would walk into the store.
Hmm.
And I walked in the door and I remember just like, there's nothing I could say. Like, so I just looked at him, and he looked at me like he was just so confused. Like, I cannot believe this motherfucker is like half an hour late. The day after I told him I was gonna fire him if he's late. And like he just didn't say a word to me. Like I felt terrible. You could tell he was a brand new, like he never owned a like a store or anything, but this was like his first time.
Yeah.
And I was one of the very first employees that he hired. And then shortly after hiring, I decided I'm gonna start fucking smoking fentanyl. So like I just put this guy through so much shit. And he was really cool. It was a fun job. I was a terrible I was a terrible like employee basically.
Yeah.
But other than that, I got like I said, I got lucky. He was cool, so he didn't really boss you around. He would just, "This is your job." He didn't wanna boss you around. He just wanted to, "Here's your job. Do whatever you gotta do to get it done. I'll leave you alone
Yeah.
until you're nodding off in the avocados, then I'm gonna come over and have to tell you, like," you know?
You gotta do your job.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot different from
I'm sure.
at Trader Joe's. Yeah, it was like it was bizarre. It was like a lot of like older people, like retired older people that like used to be somebody and then retired and like wanted a part-time gig.
Yeah.
And then there's like I worked with all of these like high school kids and they were all having sex with one another like at the job.
Oh, that's
Like
awesome.
like people would be like having sex like in the back fridge or the freezer. Like it was just like and then like the managers too were also having sex with the employees. Like that was like
That's great.
there were like there was so much cheating. Like there were so many managers that were married and they were having affairs with employees. And I do remember I like before I left or like shortly after, like one of the managers was having well he was hooking up with one of the employees and she was married and had like kids, and then I think the husband came in like with a bat and was like what the fuck is going on. Anyways, I think that like she ended up leaving her husband like for the TJ's
Oh, that's
manager,
awesome.
and like now they're married.
The
But like
TJ's manager.
but like that's the kind of shit that would go on. It's like every day I get to work. Oh, did you hear? Guess what so and so did in the parking lot last night with like this manager? And it's like, are you kidding me? Like these people are married, they have kids, and they're just like, and here I am, I'm like, oh my God, like this is, and then it was like, I never like ever, was involved with any of that, but it was kind of like, there was so much hooking up that I was kind of like, I kind of started to feel like, wow, like nobody even finds me attractive. Like I don't want to be involved, but at least like the thought where you're like, can somebody be like, oh hey Annie? I'm like, no.
It's probably all that resting bitch face.
Yeah, well, no, it's like because a lot of the hooking up was like the younger kids. There was like a whole group of kids I was working with that were like between the ages of like 16 to like 21, and then I was like mid 20s, so it's like to them I'm like too old.
Yeah.
And then it's like there's like me and like a couple other people that are mid 20s, and then after that everybody else is like over the age of 50, so it's like all the high school kids. It was but yeah, no, they were just like, yeah, you've a resting bitch face. But I've actually had like a couple of jobs where they're like, you need to smile more. And I'm like, I don't need to do shit. Like, as long as I'm doing my job. I don't know. But yeah, that's my TJ's experience. I would never go back there again. I do like to go in there sometimes and then like, they're like, how's it going? And then I like to brag about my life.
Jesus.
I'm like, you still work at Trader Joe's? I don't. But anyways, for next week, I found this prompt I thought would be kind of fun. And it's describe something unusual or weird that you have seen. Or somebody could make up something or find like a news story that's weird. I feel like that could tie with like Matt talking about his cult story.
I have one there's not enough detail to describe it, so it really make a good story. But
yeah. Well, do you want to save it for next
I'll
week?
try to stretch it out into a story because it's like if I can explain it properly, it's like it was like I can't explain. I'll try. It was just yeah.
Like,
I'll
because
try.
there's like things that I have seen over my life that I can't explain. Like things that I just, you see something and you're like, what the fuck was that? And then it's just like, that was it.
This is
So
one of those things that I think the friend and I that saw this thing are like pretty convinced this guy was like doing some kind of like devil-y, like contortion-y shit. Like it, yeah.
okay. Well, then it'll be cool. So then Matt can talk about his cult story. And then, okay, so the girl that wanted to come, her name is Noelle. And she says that she's going to come next week. So hopefully there will be 4 of us confirmed. But yeah,
What if we have no chemistry with this girl?
I don't know. Then
Like,
it's
what if she just ruins the? Are you like
he's
actually?
not gonna ruin it.
Are you
Like,
friends? Like, are you actually cool? Like, can I talk shit to her, or should I be nice to her?
well, let's like kind of see how she is on camera. I mean, like when I talk to her, like she's super cool. Like she kind of just like I don't know. I met her through like one of the typo fan pages I'm in, and she like is just like a goth girl that like she's like a Latina goth girl. She's like covered in tattoos. A lot of her photos are like at cemeteries, and I don't know.
I'm not really gonna talk shit to her.
I don't know.
I'd be down with bringing a 4th person. So
I just thought it would be fun because like we've never had another female on here, so we'll see what the vibe is, and then we'll see if what she has to say.
bring lyrics next week
Okay.
and
Yeah.
tell Matt. Tell Matt if you talk to him.
Yeah. I'm gonna
Because I was listening to an old song today that I used to really like, and I could talk about this like one lyric for a good
4 hours. Okay.
yeah. I love lyrics. Dave Grohl says white people dance to lyrics, and it's totally true.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah, we can do like a little lyric poetry jam. That sounds good. I don't know, like I can't really think of like lyrics that I like. Like I mean like typo negative don't really I don't know. I'd probably bring something from like Jim Morrison since it's so poetic.
You gotta listen to more Taylor Swift.
I just
She's a lyrical genius.
we'll get there eventually.
She's a lyrical genius. She can make you miss any ex.
Just we'll see. We'll see. All right. Well, I'm gonna go make some dinner and get ready for the rest of my evening. And I will create a prompt for next week.
Yeah, let me know.
And hopefully we will we'll talk about some weird shit next week, so that'll be fun.
Yeah, right. Matt's gonna talk about the cult thing. That'll be cool.
Yeah, no, I'm excited.
It'll balance out. It'll go good with. I talked about the loony bin today, and then Matt will talk about joining a cult next week. So that's a good, a good 1-2 punch.
Yeah, no, it's gonna be fun. Okay, all right. I'm gonna go. I'll see you later.
All right, I'm gonna.